everyone. Hello, YouTube. Otaku here. We're going to be getting back into The Moon is Down by John Steinbeck. If you've been onto this channel before, go ahead and grab your eucalyptus inhalation equipment. If you have not been onto this channel before, please go check the channel description to get a better idea of what's going on here before we continue. So, alright. It's good to be back. So, where we left off is just chaos of the soldiers. They aren't going to. I don't know what they're going to do, honestly. I know they're pissed off at that doctor for killing these citizens. That's for certain. Oh, yes, and please do not forget your waters as well. We do have hydration checks. Gnarly, dude. Alright, with that all out the way, we still got about half a minute. I just like to give 2 minutes for this, so what's been going on? Saving lives, honestly. There's a few things I'm held back on, like currently I can't work on my album for a second due to personal reasons, and that's going to change tomorrow, though right now I thought it would be the perfect time to bring you lovely audience another piece of this fine written fiction. And with that, the 2 minutes has ended. Let's go ahead and get into the book because I'm really excited about continuing. I understand I stopped at this page. Alright, let's do this right from the top. "Thank you, sir," said Corral. "I did my best." Lancer said, a little waringly. "Well, sir, now what shall we do? Question mark. How would you like to go back to the capital? We could put you on a coal barge if you're in a hurry, or on a destroyer if you want to wait." Corral said, "But I don't want to go back. I'll stay here." Lancer studied this for a moment and he said, "You know, I haven't a great many men. I could give you a very adequate bodyguard." "But I don't need a bodyguard," said Corral. "I tell you, these aren't violent people." He sounds like, I'm trying to make him sound like Rick Toffin from Call of Duty Zombies. Okay. Lancer looked at the bandage for a moment. Hunter glanced up from his board and remarked, "You'd better start wearing a helmet." He looked down at his work again. Now Corral moved forward in his chair. "I wanted particularly to talk to you, Carter. I thought you might help with the civil administrations." Lancer turned over on his heel and walked to the window and looked out, and then he swung around and said quietly, "What have you in mind? Question mark. Well, you might have a civil authority you could trust. I thought perhaps the mayor or dean might step down now and, well, if I were to take over his office, and the military would work very nicely together." Lancer's eyes seemed to grow large and bright. He came close to Corral and spoke sharply. "Have you mentioned this in your report?" Corral said, "Well, yes, naturally, in my analysis." Lancer interrupted. "Have you talked to any of the townspeople since we arrived? Outside of the mayor, that is." "Well, no. You see, they're still a bit startled. They didn't expect it." He chuckled. "No, sir, they certainly didn't expect it." Oh, this guy's fucking evil. I'm gonna smoke again. This guy's evil. Bad to the bone. Bad to the bone. Really. Psh. I told you they're not gonna lie. They're trying to send him away. Honestly, Lancer's doing good by trying to get his ass on a boat the fuck out of there because he's like a fucking freak. These soldiers aren't even looking to be like that, I think. I'm not too sure. But I like to believe that they would be in better hands with those soldiers than this fucking lunatic. Page 33, The Moon is Down, by John Steinbeck. An anti-communist propaganda book. Let's continue. But Lancer pressed his point. So you don't really know what's going on in their minds? Question mark. Why, this I thought, said Corral, shrugging. They're almost dreaming. You don't know what they think of you? Question mark. Lancer asked. I have many friends here. Oh, it's Corral speaking. Lancer asked. I have many friends here. I know everyone. Did anyone buy anything in your store this morning? Well, of course, business is at a standstill, Corral answered. No one's buying anything. Lancer relaxed suddenly. He went to the chair and sat down and crossed his legs, and said quietly, Yours is a difficult and brave brand to the service. It should be greatly rewarded. Thank you, sir. Corral bowed. You will have their hatred in time, said the Corral. I can stand that, sir. They are the enemy. Now Lancer hesitated a long moment before he spoke, and then he said softly, You will not even have our respect. Corral jumped at his feet excitedly. This is contrary to the leader's word, he said. The leader has said that all branches are equally honorable. Lancer went on very quietly. I hope the leader knows. I hope he can read the minds of soldiers. And then almost compassionately he said, You should be greatly rewarded. For a moment he said quietly, and then he pulled himself together and said, Now, we must come to exactness. I am in charge here. My job is to get coal out. To do that, I must maintain order and discipline. And to do that, I must know what are in the minds of these people. I must anticipate revolts. Do you understand that? Question mark. Well, I can find out what you wish to know, sir. And may I say here, I will be very effective, said Corral. This is pretty good. Not gonna lie. I know I keep doing it, but I just don't even care. Another smoke break for a second. Fortoy, Cali. You already know. I was born in Las Vegas, but a lot of my family is from California, so California love. Alright, so with this smoke session, we're gonna go ahead and do a hydration. Making good time here, but Most definitely smoke at the pace that you want to. If you're going at the pace that I'm going, I'm trying to keep a vibe going for myself as I'm reading through this. I can definitely say this is already starting out as one of the better sessions, the most I've had. So let's keep this going. Good flow. Alright, yeah. Yep. Lancer shook his head. I have no orders about this. I must use my own judgment. I think you will never again know what's going on here. I think no one will speak to you. No one will be near to you except those people who will live on money, who can live on money. Like literally, I didn't mess up on anything. It said that people who live on money, who can live on money. I think without a guard, you will be in grave danger. It will please me if you go back to the capital. There will be rewards for your fine work there. But my place is here, sir. My place is here. I have made my place here. It is all in my report. Lancer went on as though he had not heard him. Mayor Ordine is more than a mayor, he said. He is his people. He knows what they are doing, thinking, without asking, because he will think what they think. By watching him, I will know them. I must stay. This is my judgment. Corell said, My work, sir, merits better treatment than being sent away. Yes, it does, Lancer said slowly. But to the larger work, I think you are only a detriment now. If you are not hated yet, you will be soon. In any little revolt, you will be in the first to be killed. I think I will suggest that you go back immediately. Corell said stiffly. You will, of course, permit me to wait for a reply of my report to the capital? ? Yes, of course. But I shall recommend that you go back for your own safety. Frankly, Mr. Corell, you have no value here. But, well, there must be other plans in other countries. Perhaps you will go now to see some new town in a new country. You will win new confidence in a new field. You may be given a larger town, even a city, a greater responsibility. I think I will recommend you highly for your work here. Happens. Corell's eyes were shining with gratification. Thank you, sir, he said, stuttering. I've worked hard. Perhaps you are right. But you must permit me to wait for a reply to the capital, of course. Lancer's voice was tight. His eyes were slinted. He said harshly, Wear a helmet. Keep indoors. Do not go out at night. And above all, do not drink. Trust no woman nor any man. Do you understand that? ? Corell looked pityingly at the colonel. But I don't think you understand. I have a little home, a pleasant country girl waiting for me there. I even think she's a little fond of me. These are simple, peaceful people. I know them. Lancer said, There are no peaceful people no more. When will you learn it? There are no friendly people here. Can't you understand that? We have invaded this country. You, by what they call treachery, prepared for us. His face grew red as his voice rose. Can you understand that we are at war with these people? ? Corell said a little smugly. We have defeated them. The colonel stood up and swung his arms helplessly, and Hunter looked up from his board and put his hand out to protect his board from being juggled. Hunter said, Careful now, sir. I'm inking in. I wouldn't want to do it all over again. Lancer looked down at him and said, Sorry. And went as though he was instructed a class. He said, defeat is a momentary thing. A defeat, it doesn't last. We are defeated and now we attack. Defeat means nothing. Can't you understand that? Do you know what they are whispering behind doors? Corell asked. Do you? No, but I suspect. Then Corell said, insinuatingly, are you afraid, Colonel? Should the commander of the occupation be afraid? Lancer sat down heavily and said, maybe that's it. He said disgustingly, I'm tired of people who do not know what war is like, who know all about it. He held his chin at his hand and said, I remember a little woman in Brussels. Sweet face, white hair. She was only 4 feet 11. Delicate old hands. You could see the veins almost black against her skin. In her black shawl, and her blue-white hair. She used to sing our national songs to us in a quivering, sweet old voice. She always knew where to find a cigarette or a virgin. What the fuck? Hold on, I gotta smoke to that. That's fucking hard. This old bitch knew how to find a fucking cigarette or a virgin. Sounds like I don't know. I wonder what she was like when she was young then. I'm probably gonna be switching my equipment over to I never gave it a proper name. Give me a little bit of time while I'm packing this. I'll think of something. Never thought about it, but I guess I should name this one. Let's see. Touchdown. That's what I'm going to name this one-hitter, Touchdown. When you hit it, touchdown. Let me get this set up for the next time. We're going to continue. Back, yeah, that's cool. She used to sing our national songs to us in a quivering, sweet voice. She always knew where to find a cigarette or a virgin. He dropped his hands from his chin and caught himself as though he had been asleep. We didn't know her son had been executed, he said. When we finally shot her, she had killed 12 men with the long, black harpoon. I had it yet at home. It was an enamel button with a bird over it, red and blue. Oh, a hat pin. Apologies, not a harpoon. Let me read that again. When we finally shot her, she had killed 12 men with a long, black hairpin. I had it yet at home. It was an emerald button with a bird over it, red and blue. Damn, she killed 12 men with the freaking hairpin, so she was probably 12 of these niggas before they dropped. Crazy. They dropped her. Anyways. That's fucking savage. That's cool. Corell said, but you shot her. Of course we shot her. And the murder stopped? Asked Corell. No, the murders did not stop. And when we finally retreated, the people cut off stragglers, and they burned some, and they gouged the eyes from some, and some they even crucified. Corell said loudly, these are not good things to say, Colonel. Yeah, it's even throwing that he clears his throat after he says that. These are not good things, Colonel. These are not good things to remember, said Lancer. Corell said, You should not be in command if you are afraid. And Lancer answered softly, I know how to fight. You see, if you know, at least you do not make silly errors. Do you talk this way to young officers? Lancer shook his head. No, they wouldn't believe me. Why do you tell me that? Oh, wait. No, they wouldn't believe me. Why don't you tell me that? Because, Mr. Corell, your work is done. I remember one time, and he spoke there with a tumble of feet on the stairs and a door burst open. A sentry looked in, and Captain Loft brushed past him. Loft was rigid and cold in the military. He said, There's trouble, sir. Wait, Loft is the flamboyant one? Right? Yeah, probably, so. There's trouble, sir. Trouble. I have to report, sir, that Captain Benstick has been killed. Fucking Benstick got killed? The dude that went into the... Oh, no. Oh, no. We really are following the freaking soldiers. Oh, my gosh. Lancer said, Oh, yes. Benstick. There was a sound of a number of footsteps on the stairs, and two stretcher bearers came in, carrying a figure covered with blankets. Lancer said, Are you sure he's dead? Quite sure, Loft said stiffly. The lieutenant came in from the bedroom, their mouths a little open, and they looked frightened. Lancer said, Put him down there. And he pointed to the wall beside the windows. When the bearers had gone, Lancer kneeled and lifted a corner of the blanket and then quickly put it down again. And still kneeling, he looked at Loft and said, Who did this? A miner, said Loft. Why? I was there, sir. Well, make a report then. Make your report, goddammit, man. Loft drew himself up and said formally, I had just relieved Captain Benstick at the Colonel's order. Captain Benstick was about to leave to come here when I had some trouble with the Rexgalliant miner who wanted to quit work. He shouted something about being a free man. When I ordered him to work, he rushed at me with his pick. Captain Benstick tried to interfere. He gestured slyly towards the body. Lancer, still kneeling, nodded slowly. Benstick was a cautious man, curious man. Cautious and curious man, he said. He loved the English. He loved everything about them. I don't think he liked to fight very much. You captured this man? ? Yes, sir, Lob said. Lancer stood up slowly and spoke as though to himself. What are you going to say to yourself, Lancer? So it starts again. Oh. Anyways. We'll shoot this man and make 20 new enemies. It's the only thing we know. Only thing we know. Prackle said, What did you say, sir? Lancer answered, Nothing at all. I was just thinking. He turned to Loft and said, Please give my compliments to Mayor Ordine and my request that he see me immediately. This is very important. Major Hunter looked up, drying his inking pen carefully, and put it away in a velvet-lined box. Oh yeah, that's how they used to keep the pens. That's pretty cool. In the town, the people moved silently through the streets. Oh yeah, chapter 3, page 39 of John Steinbeck's The Moon is Down. Fuck communism. Let's do this. In the town, the people moved sullenly through the streets. Some of the lights of astonishment was gone from their eyes, but still a light of anger had not taken its place. In the coal shaft, the workingmen pushed the coal cart sullenly. The small tradesmen stood behind their counters and served the people, but no one communicated with them. The people spoke to one another in monosyllables. That's something I gotta look up, monosyllables. And everyone was thinking of the war, thinking of himself, thinking of the past and how it had suddenly been changed. In the drawing room of the palace of Mayor Ordine, a small fire burned and lights were on, for it was a gray day outside and there was frost in the air. The room was itself undergoing a change. The tapestry-covered chairs were pushed back, the little tables out the way, as though the doorway in the right. Joseph and Annie were struggling to bring a large square dining table. They had it on its side. Joseph was in the drawing room and Annie's red face slowly showed through the door. Joseph maneuvered the legs around sideways as he cried, "Don't push, Annie! Now!" "I am nowing," said Annie, the red nose and red-eyed, the anger. Annie was always a little angry, and these soldiers, this occupation, did not improve her temper. Indeed, what for years had been considered simply a bad disposition was suddenly becoming a patriotic emotion. Annie had gained some little reputation as an exponent of liberty by throwing hot water on the soldiers. She would have thrown it on anyone who cluttered up her porch, but it was just happened that she had become a heroine, and since anger had become the beginning of her success, Annie went on to... What an interesting way to live your life. Annie, you get the Adams seal of approval. New successes by whipping herself into increased and constant anger. "Don't scoff the bottom," Joseph said, the table wedged in the doorway. "Steady," Joseph warned. "I am steady," said Annie. Joseph stood off and studied the table, and Annie crossed her arms and glared at him. He tested a leg. "Don't push," he said. "Don't push so hard." And by himself he got the table through while Annie followed with crossed arms. "Now up she goes," said Joseph, and the last Annie helped him settle it on all fours and moved it in the center of the room. "There," Annie said. "If His Excellency hadn't told me to, I wouldn't have done it. What right had they got moving tables around?" "What right coming in at all?" said Joseph. "None," said Annie. "None," said Joseph. "I see it like they have no right at all, but they do it with their guns and their parachutes. They do it, Annie." "They got no right," said Annie. "What do they want with the table in here anyways? There isn't a dining room." Joseph moved a chair to the table and he set it up carefully at the right distance from the table, and he adjusted it. "Gonna hold a trial," he said. "They're gonna try Alexander Mordine." "Molly Mordine's husband?" "Molly Mordine's husband." "For bashing the fellow with the pick?" "That's right," said Joseph. "But he's a nice man." "They got no right to try him. He gave Molly a big red dress for her birthday. What right have they to try Alex?" "Well," Joseph explained, "he killed the fella." "Suppose he did?" "The fella ordered Alex around. And I heard about it. Alex didn't like to be ordered. Alex been an alderman in all his life, and his father too. And Molly Mortimer made a nice cake. And he said, charitably, but her frosting gets too harsh sometimes. What do they think they'll do to Alex? Shoot him, Joseph said gloomily. They can't do that. Bring up the chairs, Annie. Yes, they can. They just did it. It wasn't them. It was the fucking... Fuck that dude. That shit pisses me off. They have such a negative perspective of these soldiers, but like, they're trying to get these fucking dude out of here. He's a freaking psychopath. They don't like him either. Alright. And he shook a very rigid finger in his face. You remembering my words, she said angrily. People ain't gonna like it if we hurt Alex. People like Alex? Did he even hurt anybody before? Answer me that. No, said Joseph. Well, there, you see? If you hurt Alex, people are gonna be mad, and I'm gonna be mad. I won't stand for it. What will you do? Let him. I tell you, Joseph, things are going too far. Trampling in at all hours of the night, shooting people. Joseph adjusted a chair at the head of the table, and because, in some curious way, a conspirator, he said softly, Annie. He paused and sensed his tone, walked near to him. He said, Can you keep a secret? ? She looked at him with a little admiration, for he had never had a secret before. Yes. What is it? Well, William Deal and Walter Dogle got away last night. Got away? Where? They got away to England in a boat. And he sighed with pleasure and anticipation. Does everybody know? Well, not everybody, said Joseph. Everybody but... And he pointed a quick thumb towards the ceiling. Where did they go? Why didn't I hear about it? You were busy, Joseph's voice said, and face was cold. You know that Corral? Yeah. Joseph came close to her. I don't think he's going to live long. What do you mean? Annie whispered. Well, people are talking. Annie sighed with tension. Uh-huh. Joseph was last of his opinions finally spoke. People are getting together, he said. They don't like to be conquered. Things are going to happen. Keep your eyes peeled, Annie. There are going to be things for you to do. Annie asked, How about His Excellency? ? What's he gonna do? How about His Excellency gonna stand? Nobody knows. He doesn't say anything anymore. He wouldn't be against it, Annie said. He doesn't say either way, Joseph said. The knob turned on the left-hand door, and Mayor Ordine came in slowly. He looked tired and old. Behind him, Dr. Winter walked, and Ordine said, That's good, Joseph. Thank you, Annie. It looks very well. They went out, and Joseph looked back through the door for a moment before he closed it. Mayor Ordine walked to the fire and turned to warm his back. Dr. Winter, it's so funny that he's chilling by a fire right next to a doctor named Winter, pulled out his chair in the head of the table and said, I wonder how much longer I can hold this position. Ordine said, I thought that was going to be Dr. Winter talking. I wonder how much longer I can hold this position. Ordine said, The people don't quite trust me, and neither does the enemy. I wonder whether this is a good thing. I don't know. said Winter. I want to make Winter sound like he's always shivering. Like there's just like a constant tick in his insides. You trust yourself, don't you? There's no doubts in your mind, right? Question mark. Doubt. No. I am the mayor. I don't understand many things. He pointed to the table. I don't understand why they have to hold this trial in here. They're going to trial Alex Mordine here for murder. You remember Alex? He had that pretty little wife, Molly. I remember, said Winter. She used to teach in the grammar school. Yes, I remember. She's so pretty. She hated to get glasses when she needed them. Well, I guess Alex killed an officer, all right? Nobody questioned that. Mayor Ordine said bitterly, nobody's questioning nothing. But why do they try him? Why don't they just shoot him? This is not a matter of doubt or certainty, justice or injustice. There's none of that here. Why must they try him? And in my house of all places, question mark. Winter said, when he gets it for the show, for it's an idea about if you go through the forms of things, you have it, and sometimes people are satisfied with the form of things. We have an army, soldiers with guns, but it wasn't an army, you see. The invaders had a trial and hoped to convince the people that there's justice involved. Alex did kill the captain, you know. Yes, I seen that, Ordine said slowly. And Winter went on. If it comes from my house, where the people expect justice. He was interrupted by the opening of the door to the right. A young woman entered and was about 30 and quite pretty. She carried her glasses in her hand. She was dressed simply and neatly, and she was very excited. She said quickly, Andy told me to come right here, sir. Why, of course. Why, of course, said the mayor. You're Molly Mardine. Oh, they're trying to bring in witnesses. He was a good man. My husband was a good man. Don't do this to him. So far, so good. I can't lie. Everybody's feeling their role. It's interesting to hear that freaking Annie's just like this ball of rage now that all this is going on. I guess she always had a temper in that household, but now it's like she is allowing herself to like be fully unleashed. So it's not like a time of peace. She could tell that this is like a time of turmoil, and with that, she's like reflecting it every moment that she can until it's done. And people are just gonna stay motivated and inspired that things are gonna be good because of that fury. Best way to put it, that fury that she's embodying. Pretty good. I don't know what kind it is, but it's light, it's green, it's got a nice taste to it. Honestly, I'm a little scared because Texas laws on the 31st of March are gonna cut hemp products in a very major way. I'm not too sure how drastic is going to impact the dispensaries here, though I hope that they're going to keep some type of high shelf quality that are going to be at a reasonable price because, man, Texas just started getting good. Texas just started getting good, like $5 a gram for good shit good. And I'm so upset that this is how it is. Going back to this one. There were times that I used to sit with this music for hours on end, crisscross, and just stare at a wall, close my eyes, and going through like an entire day like that. This is something I think I'm gonna do is take a psychedelic product and meditate for several hours. And I'd heard about this gentleman of, I couldn't tell you if it was Buddha or some type of monk style. I'm sure you could tell me in the comments that this man would sit for several hours, days, weeks, and not eat or drink any water. And the way that they knew that he was alive was that he was crying. For what he said later on, whenever he did finish his meditations, were tears of ecstasy, because he had becoming so one with himself, so enlightened that he was crying of bliss and happiness because he was conquering the just like this constant struggle of the human nature inside your mind, the frustrations and anger and everything that can lead a person to growing in misery. And meditation is what I believe is a way to conquer something that is overcoming you in that way. Just find it. The most important thing is, I'm sure he researched and articulated things, and let's smoke. Articulated things to himself and made sure that he was knowledgeable amongst like good and evil and what that entails through experiences through others and himself, and then went into his own being. And I can only imagine just sitting there, because from the times that I've sat there and meditated and actually came to a conclusion, I just had multiple thoughts about my life, about the people that I've been around, and what those experiences have brought to me. And I felt like by the end of that meditation session, I was actually more knowledgeable about who I am. Because if I'm gonna be alive, I should use everything I can to aid myself in a positive way. Though other people may sit there and tread faster through lesser means, I can walk a steady path knowing I'm looking for good amongst myself and amongst others. And if I continue to aid other people in seeing the good, keeping the good, and manifesting that good through virtues and patience, and then I am doing my part in making the world less chaotic and better for, even if it's just one person. And I felt like if you were to ask me 5 years ago when I was 21 that I was doing that, I would have laughed and agreed and said, yeah, do naivety. I don't know if that's a word, but my naive ass mind would have been like, yeah, of course. Thinking I'm doing that, but truly, I'm not looking out for people in the way I should have been. Because the person I am now is capable of looking out for himself and for the people. Well, though time to time I may fall prey to serpents lurking in my garden, I do my best to keep my eyes open, and I do react when I see it, ensuring my garden is kept in peace. I tend to the flowers and I grow them in ways that people could only dream to find in beauty. And I believe that to be so, because that's who I choose to be. And I won't settle for anything less. I've lost so much, and I'm sure these people are feeling like that in this book. And the only thing that I found looking forward is putting everything I care about passionately right there in the open. Like no lying, no stealing, no bullshitting, no making stuff up. Just for straight honesty or silence. Or reflection. It's hard. Because it's kind of boring sometimes. It's not like it's not like sitting there and freaking lying to yourself with the delusions that you're living a glamorous life. That in itself has its own sickly sweet. It's a type of safety, self-love that I no longer choose to bestow upon my being. It's too shallow of a lifestyle. I'd rather just be honest about everything, and I know people will accept it and respect it far more than anything else I could produce. Alright, let's check this out. Yep, because Molly just walked in and the mayor was acknowledging her. Yes, sir, I am. They say that Alex is being tried and shot. This is the wife of Alex. Molly Mordine. Ordine looked down at the floor for a moment, and Molly went on. They say you'll send him? Will it be your word they set him out? Ordine looked up, startled. What's this? Who said that? Question mark. There's people in the town. She held herself very straight and she asked, half pleadingly, half demandingly, You wouldn't do that, would you, sir? I think I nailed that one. How could the people know? Wait. How could the people know what I don't know? Question mark. That's a great mystery, Dr. Winter said. That's a mystery that has disturbed rulers all over the world. How the people know. It disturbs the invaders now. I am told how news runs through censorships, how the truth of things fight, free of control. It is a great mystery. Dr. Winter, what the fuck, are you okay? The girl looked up, for the room had suddenly darkened. She seemed to be afraid. It's a cloud, she said. The word snow is on the way. It's early, too. Dr. Winter went to the window and squinted up at the sky, and he said, Yes, it's a big cloud. Maybe it'll pass over. Alright, we got like 10 more minutes. Mayor Ordine switched on a lamp that made only a little circle of light. He switched it off again and said, Light in the daytime is a lonely thing. Fucking bear. Now Molly came near to him again. While we're at it, hydration check. used to. Oh. Okay, let's keep going. Now Molly came near to him again. Alex is not a murdering man, she said. He's a quick-tempered man, but he's never broken a law. He's a respected man. Ordine rested his head on her shoulder and said, I know. Alex, since he was a little boy, I'd known his father and his grandfather. His grandfather was a bear hunter in the olden days. Do you know that? Molly ignored him. You wouldn't sentence Alex? ? No, he said. How could I sentence him? The people said you would, for the sake of Oda. Fucking delivering this is so good. Mayor Ordine stood behind a chair and gripped it back with his hands. Do the people want order, Molly? I don't know, she said. They want to be free. Well, do they know how to go about it? Do they know what method to use against an armed enemy? No, Molly said. I don't think so. You're a bright girl, Molly. Do you know? No, sir. But I think the people feel like they're being it. If they stay docile, they want to show their soldiers they're unbeatable. They've had no chance to fight. It's no fight to go against machine guns. Dr. Winters, oh my gosh. I wish they would put the start of it, Dr. Winters saying or something like that. They have no chance to fight. It's no fight to go against machine guns, Dr. Winters said. Ordine said, when you know what they want to do, will you tell me, Molly? She looked at him suspiciously. Yes, she said. You mean, no, you don't trust me. How about Alex? She questioned frantically. I'll not sentence him. He has committed no crime against our people, said the mayor. Molly was hesitant now. She said, Will they kill Alex? Ordine stared at her and he said, Dear child, my dear child. She held herself rigid. Thank you. Ordine came close to her and she said weakly, Don't touch me. Please don't touch me. Please don't touch me. She said, coming close to a sob, as his hand dropped. For a moment she stood still. Then she turned stiffly and went out of the door. He had just closed the door when Joseph entered. Excuse me, sir. The colonel wants to see you. I said you were busy. I knew she was here. The madame wants to see you too, Ordine said. Ask madame to come in first. Joseph went out and madame came in immediately. Alright, 6 more minutes. Page 46. We made great timing, in my opinion. I don't know how I could run a house, she began. It's more people than the house could stand. Annie's angry all the time. Hush, Ordine demanded. Madame looked at him with amazement. I don't know. What? Hush, he said. Sarah, I want you to go to Alex Mordain's house. Do you understand? I want you to stay with Molly Mordain when she needs you. Don't talk. Just stay with her. Madame said, I've got 100 things. Sarah, I want you to stay with Molly Mordain. Don't leave her alone, not even to use the restroom. Go, now. She comprehended slowly, staring up, saying, Yes, I will. When will it be over? I don't know, he said. I'll send Annie when it's time. She kissed him lightly on the cheek and went out. Better kiss your fucking man on the lips in this bitch. This might be your last, baby. Anyways, Ordine walked to the door and called, Joseph, I'll see the colonel now. Lancer came in. He had a new pressed uniform with a little ornamental dagger on the belt. He said, "Good morning, Your Excellency. I wish to speak to you informally." He glanced at Dr. Winter. "I should like to speak to you alone." Winters went slowly out of the door. As he reached toward Dean and said, "Doctor." Winter turned. "Yes? Yes? Question mark. Will you come back this evening? Question mark. You will have work for me?" the doctor asked. No. I just won't like to be alone." "I will be here," said the doctor. "And doctor, you think Molly looked alright?" "Oh, I think so. Close to hysteria, I guess." "Oh, I think so. Close to hysteria, I guess. But that's good. Good stock. She's good. Strong stock. She is a Kimberly, you know." "I'd forgotten." Ordine said, "Yes, she's a Kimberly, isn't she?" Dr. Winters went out and shut the door gently behind him. Lancer had waited courteously. He waited. He watched the door close. He looked at the table and chairs about it. "All right. I'd just like a moment of silence." All the way to 57. All right, let's do this. "I will not tell you, sir, how sorry I am about this. I wish it did not happen." Mayor Ordine bowed, and Lancer went on. "I like you, sir, and I respect you. I have a job to do. You surely recognize this." Ordine did not answer. He looked straight into Lancer's eyes. We do not act alone or on our own judgment." Between sentences, Lancer waited for an answer, but he received none. Fuck. I thought they were switching. It's very hard to tell. Sometimes they just leave it up for debate unless you read further ahead. I'm trying to stay immersed. I don't know. My peripherals are also bad, so we'll probably go over a little hour, just to finish this page off, or a little more if we get interested. We can do anything. This is life. "We do not act alone or on our own judgment." Between sentences, Lancer wanted for an answer, but he received none. "There are rules laid down for us. Rules made in the capital. This man has killed an officer." At last, Ordine answered. "Why don't you just shoot him then? That was the time to do it." Lancer shook his head. "If I had agreed with you, it would make no difference. You know as well as I do that punishment is largely for the purpose of deferring the potential criminal. Then, such punishment is for others than the punished. It must be publicized. It must be dramatized." He thrust a finger in the back of his belt and flipped his little dagger. Ordine turned away and looked out of the window at the dark sky. "It will snow tonight," said Ordine. "Mayor Ordine, you know our orders were exonerable. We must get the cool. If your people are not orderly, will have to resort to orders by force. His voice grew stern. No, Lancer, don't stop being cool. We must shoot people if it is necessary. If you wish to save your people from hurt, you must help us to keep order. Now, it is considered wise by my government that punishment emanates from the local government. It makes for a more orderly situation. Ordine said softly, so the people did know. That is a mystery. And louder he said, you wish me to pass sentence to death of Alexander Morden after a trial here, huh? Questioned Mock. Yes, and you will prevent much bloodshed later if you will do so. Ordine went to the table and pulled out a big chair at his head and sat down. And suddenly, he seemed to be the judge, and Lancer, the culprit. He drummed with his fingers on the table. He said, you and your government, don't you understand? In all the world, you are the only government and people with a record of defeat after defeat for centuries. And every time because you do not understand people. He paused. This principle does not work first. I am the mayor. I have no right to pass sentence to death. There is no one in this community that was right. If I should do it, I would be breaking the law as much as you. Breaking the law, said Lancer. You killed 6 men when you came in. Under our law, you are guilty of murder, all of you. Why do you go into the nonsense of law, Colonel? There is no law between you and us. This is war. Don't you understand you have to kill all of us, or we in time will kill all of you? You destroyed the law when you came in, and a new law took its place. Don't you know that? Lancer said, may I sit down? Why do you ask? That is another lie. You could make me stand if you wished. Lancer said, no, it is true. Whether you believe it or not, personally, I have respect for you and your office. And he put his 4 fingers on his head for a moment. You see what I think, sir? I, a man of a certain age and a certain memories, is of no importance. I might agree with you, but that would change nothing. The military, the political patterns of work in has certain tendencies and practices which are invariable. There we go. Apologies, not invulnerable, invariable. Ordine said, and these tendencies and practices have been proven wrong in every single case since the beginning of the world. Lancer laughed bitterly. I, an individual man with certain memories, might agree with you. Might even add that one of these tendencies of the military mind and patterns is an inability to learn, an inability to see beyond the killings which is to job. But I am not a man subject to memories. The coal mines must be shot publicly. The coal miner must be shot publicly, because that theory is that others will be restrained themselves from killing our men. Ordine said, we need not talk any more then. Yes, we must talk. We want you to help. Ordine sat quietly for a moment and then said, I'll tell you what I'll do. How many men were in the machine guns when killed our soldiers? Oh, no more than 20, I guess, said Lancer. Very well. If you will shoot them, I will condemn Ordine. You're not serious, said the colonel, but I am serious. This cannot be done. This cannot be done. You know that. I know it, said Ordine. And what he asks can't be done. Lancer said, I suppose I knew. Colonel will have to be mayor after all. He looked up quickly. You will stay for the trial? Question mark. Page 50 of John Steinbeck's The Moon is Down. Yes, I will stay. Then Alex won't be so lonely. Lancer looked at him and smiled a little sadly. We have taken on a job, haven't we? Yes, said the mayor. The one impossible job in the world. The one thing that cannot be done. And that is to break a man's spirit permanently. Ordean's head sank a little towards the table, and he said without looking up, It's starting to snow. I don't wait for night. I like the sweet, cold smell of the snow. Chapter 4, page 51. Alright, we're going to go ahead and stop there. Wow, so they really just bring it down this hammer. So people are just getting ready for war from the public. The public's already sitting there killing one of the soldiers. Multiple of the soldiers are probably going to get killed by the end of this, I have a feeling. Cabral's definitely has to die for what he's done. All these soldiers are going to be fucking shot because of that stupid freaking guy. Because I could have sworn it was freaking him that shot them. I thought they said that the one that was the spy here, the one that betrayed everybody because he was like amongst the community and he gained their trust, was the one that shot the 6 soldiers. I could have sworn they said that earlier on. Well, if he dies, they could kill. I would want them to kill what's his name, because fuck these guys. They make a point like, this is our home, this is our land, like you're not gonna force us to do these things. Now, if it'd be one thing if they were like, yo, we want some coal, we'll go mine it ourselves, we're a little bit, we would appreciate it, and then y'all don't bitch or fuck with us, and that would work too. Fucking retarded. Sorry. I just had to play there at the end. Well, I wish all of you a lovely day, night, tomorrow, yesterday. One day I shall revert back to the same form that I came from before I was birthed. That'll be quite interesting to go back home. Quite interesting, indeed. Thank you, Lord. Y'all take care.